UK. Tommy Stewart, principal here, also CEO of a company called Trinity Advisory. I've been in the enterprise space for 25 years, primarily focused around CRM, but have sold the full stack for SAP, Microsoft, and also in the telco space. Started up a company about 6 years ago in the AI space around machine learning. And ultimately, where my focus is now is helping startups go to market with what I call disruptive technology, right?
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Wood. I work with Lee and Blackstone+Cullen as a principal. We do some training and consulting. I do strategy for enterprise and mid-market. And my work primarily focuses on the human adoption side of artificial intelligence. So it's really helping leaders get started, helping them measure the value, and then helping them scale across their organization.
Very good. Thank you.
These webinars. So I'm the co-CEO of Nexus Digital Group, and we are focused on the small and mid-sized enterprises and leading technology adoption, especially for the past year and a half, has been focused on how do we provide value for with AI. In other words, not just a solution in search of a problem, but basically how the business can be helped. And we look at yielding high ROI projects and implementations as a result.
And Lee, Brett brought up something that a lot of people have been talking about recently with MIT's Project Nanda report, where they came out and they said that they saw that most all of the AI pilots they did in a 6-month period failed to show any measurable impact to the P&L. So they didn't show ROI. This is in a 6-month span. There's been a lot of talk about this because 95 is a big number, and it implies that only 5% of AI pilots will make it. So a lot of pundits have been discussing this. I know I've read the report and discussed it.
I read it also. I think you have to give a certain level of credibility to MIT that they're smart and that they know what they're doing. But I also think that's academic and not necessarily real world in terms of the ROI. And I've actually just documented a couple of ones that we've done in a pilot where it was an engineering firm that on average was spending 20 hours per project. 5 of those hours were focused.
Really understand who they want to be using this technology, and then how are they going to execute, right? How are they going to deliver and adopt and govern responsibly as a company versus having shadow AI within each of their different departments, which tend to conflict. And then what does success look like, right? Is it value-based? Is it outcome-based? And so all of those things come back to helping our organizations be responsible, right? Because again, that success rate, we all can debate whether it's right or wrong, but most of those organizations had very little to do with the tech. It was readiness of the customer. Could they actually handle what they were doing? Did they have the right KPIs? And when things are done irresponsibly, you get some of the tragic stories that we just heard. But it just raises the level of importance and the value that we bring to the marketplace by really ensuring that the organizations that we're talking to are ready across the culture with the skill sets as well to do.
Yeah, this is the uncomfortable conversation that makes people very quiet in a room. So this is something we have to discuss up front with our clients. As I'm an advisor consultant, so when I'm working with clients, we have to bring this up. We have to talk about the ethics and what does it mean and what guardrails are we putting in place. And a lot of people that the tension between growing the business and innovation is met with the financial responsibility and protection and governance. So we have to balance out where we're going. We want to obviously grow the business if it's a business organization. We want to grow that substantially, but we have to put some pieces in place and we have to set that up. It's amazing to me how many companies out there still don't have strong policies in place, or at least they can be flexible and adjusted.
Yep.
Let me make a comment. If you think about how the models work, and we've talked about the dimensional approach where you say, I need, and here's the context, and here's the purpose, and here's the desired results, and here's the output I want. And this is from the perspective I want it. If you dig deep into these models, you find that all the models use pretty much the same dimensions. And what happens is as a new one comes out, the old one has been used to train the new one, and which I found fascinating. And as they come out, each new model may have, 100 new dimensions, or 200, or 500. The last round to go from GPT 4.1 to GPT 5, it added 500 new dimensions that weren't there before. If you want to think about it, those are basically in a programming to the people working in cross-functional areas, etc.
Yeah, this is an interesting pattern we've seen, Lee, where because these generative models were released without an instruction manual and there's no overriding governing body, everyone's been trying to figure it out by themselves, and some more than others. Everyone in the company has their own version of how they're using a different tool. And so when you take a step back and you're working with the leadership, you're saying, okay, now how are we going to scale and grow this? Well, you have all of these different people using things differently. And so that's where we introduced the idea of dimensional prompting or standardization in prompting. And so that's what Lee was referring to when we use the dimensional prompt framework to, bring that into our clients and show them how they can do this consistently, so that it brings them all up to the highest level of prompting, and they can be doing that across the board where